Diplomatic tensions and an escalating trade war mean that President Donald Trump can expect a chilly reception and awkward body language from allied leaders at the weekend's G7 summit in Canada, which some have dubbed the G1+6. And Trump's feuds with Washington's traditional partners are sure to test his promise that his America First ideology does not mean America alone. Yet as soon as the summit wraps up, Trump will jet off to what remarkably is likely to be a much warmer affair, a historic encounter in Singapore with one of the world's most notorious strongmen, North Korea's Kim Jong-un, the leader of a nation still technically at war with the United States. Kim will join a stable of autocrats, including Russia's Vladimir Putin and China's Xi Jinping, who have earned Trump's gushing praise to the consternation of some of America's oldest friends. At times, it seems American foreign policy has been turned upside down. America's relations with major allies lurched into crisis over steel and aluminum tariffs imposed by the Trump White House on Canada, Mexico, and the European Union. The move appalled friendly governments because it was justified by the rationale that their trade policies presented a national security threat to the U.S. These are nations that shed blood alongside America in the post-9/11 wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and stood alongside the United States during the dark, threatening years of the Cold War. I would just say to all of Canada's American friends, and there are so many, seriously. Do you really believe that Canada, that your NATO allies, represent a national security threat to you? Canadian Foreign Minister Chrystia Freeland said on CNN's State of the Union on Sunday. This is a really sad time for us. We are hurt, and we are insulted, she said. The contrast between America's allies and adversaries is especially stark because Trump, at the request of Xi, has been working to revive Chinese tech giant ZTE. The firm was threatened with extinction because of severe U.S. sanctions imposed after ZTE infringed U.S. restrictions on trade with Iran and North Korea. Like America's friends, the Chinese company, which critics fear is a vehicle for Chinese intelligence, was accused of endangering U.S. national security. But the current ill feeling is not just about trade. America's European allies are furious Trump ignored their pleas to stay in the Iran nuclear deal and that he pulled out of the Paris Climate Pact. Canada is locked in a bitter renegotiation of the North American Free Trade Agreement initiated by Trump. America's friends resent the idea that issues they see as critical to their security are being dictated by Trump's perception of his own political interests. The divide is also philosophical. Trump's weakness for strongmen and disdain for multilateral diplomacy cuts against the liberal international principles of the West. The showdown marks a test of how Trump's approach, a transactional view of foreign policy often based on whether the U.S. is winning or being ripped off by its friends, will shape the international order in the years ahead and ultimately American global leadership. The president's top economic advisor, Larry Kudlow, sought to play down the schism with U.S. allies that will be obvious in Canada. We're talking everything through. There may be disagreements. I regard this as much like a family quarrel, Kudlow said, but made no effort to downplay Trump's determination to stick to his guns on trade. The idea of a family squabble may be understating things. CNN reported Wednesday that Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau had a testy call over tariffs last month. When Trudeau complained about the national security argument, the U.S. leader quipped that Canada had once burned down the White House. The incident actually happened during the War of 1812, when Canada was a British colony. Trump's bromance with French President Emmanuel Macron is on the rocks after pair shared hugs and kisses during a state visit in Washington less than 2 months ago. Trump also had an awkward call with British Prime Minister Theresa May. His long-delayed visit to the UK, scheduled for next month, is expected to incite widespread protests. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, who has long sparred with Trump and believes his nationalistic approach spurns Western values, is warning of a contentious G7 summit. Where is the sort of balance of power going between people who threaten the United States and people who have been traditional allies? Ask CNN national security analyst Phil Mudd. I don't get it.